Hi, I have an update. I'm exhausted. That's not the update, so just ignore all of this. Okay, that montage that was before this showed all of the medications that are involved with SIBO, either that I've tried or that I'm taking. It took me 3.5 hours to go through all of them, figure out what ones I'm using and what ones I'm not, and how much of each one, and all of that. And also included in that 3 hours was also figuring out what foods I can eat, because I am starting my own protocol right now. One of those pictures in the montage is my distension. It is 35 inches circumference. Now, when I don't have any distension at all, it is 30 and a quarter. What my distension is right now is double what it was the day I came home from abdominal surgery. Do you know how swollen you are with abdominal surgery? This is 2 times that. I don't know what's going on. It happened out of the blue in the middle of January, and it isn't changing. I can't suck my stomach in. I can't even suck it in. If you suck your stomach in, it sucks in, right? It goes in far. You can see your ribs. I can't even suck it in. I can move it a little, but I can't. If this is what I am with nothing, with no distension, and this is where I am with the distension, it gets to like here. Do you feel me? There's something blocking it. I don't know what. My doctors aren't helping. I have an insane yeast infection again. I think it's really never gone away. My gynecologist is helping, but he can't help me with the rest of this stuff, but he's helping me with that. I am convinced that I think it's a great possibility that I have SIFO in addition to the methane SIBO, which I have and I know I still have. I think I also have SIFO, which is small intestinal fungal overgrowth, which is yeast. I know I have yeast because I know I have a raging yeast infection. And it's a really weird yeast infection. And I think that that is also what's going on. Now, when you treat for SIBO and you do protocol 3 times and it doesn't work, you start checking for SIFO. So, are there tests for SIFO? Yes. What is that? It's an endoscopy. You have to aspirate fluids. Am I going to have an endoscopy? Yes, along with my colonoscopy. I think I updated before that I had an appointment January 24th with my previous team, and my new GI doctor told me to cancel it and she would get me in around the same time. 3 weeks went by. That was January 11th. 3 weeks went by. Didn't hear from her. She finally eventually did. Someone called me. They couldn't get me in until May. I was like, no. The distension is 5 inches. The new pessary that I got that was working wonderfully is literally falling out. It's being pushed out by whatever is going on. So she moved it up to April, but it's still a month away. It's a month away from tomorrow. I just want to remind you that my distension is 5 inches. Double after abdominal surgery. What am I terrified of now? Because the first fear has already come true times double, right? That was that my previous bladder repair from 2014 would come undone. It did, and then so all of the rest of my organs have also prolapsed in addition to that. So that's terrible, right? Sorry, I just kind of lost where I was going. That was all stream of consciousness, so sorry about that. Hold on. The other fear is that my abdominal surgery is going to come apart. My abdomen is distended 5 inches. That's 2 times double what it was after surgery. And you are so severely swollen. And it's twice that. This is my abdominal muscles, and this is my intestines full of stool and SIBO gas pushing in on April 14th, and today is March 19th. It will be 2.5 years of every day. How long till my abdominal wall comes apart again? That was not covered by insurance. I had to borrow that money. It was a lot of money. I can't go through this again. I can't go through this. That is what fucked all this, part of what fucked all this up. Not to mention that my vagina is going to need to be sewn closed. It's, from where I sit, it's a 50-50 chance of that. Because if they can't get this fecal loading, stool burden in my intestines cleared and figured out, everything is just going to keep falling. And so they have to sew my fucking vagina together. Not to mention that all of this fucks with my body dysmorphia unbelievably. And my autism. When my body, I can feel it from the inside. I have a hyper awareness to it, just the same way with tags or seams of socks, seams on clothing. That's how I feel about my body. So when something unnatural is happening to it, I can feel it. I can feel how far apart, how far away my muscles are from where they're supposed to be. Do you know what I mean? I can feel all of that. It doesn't go away. It's as long as that's there, I feel it. Like if I had a tag, I'd feel it the whole time I'm wearing it. It's the same fucking thing. I also gained weight, and I'm not sure why. And I don't mean a number, though I did, but I don't count the number because I know that the number is stool. I started back at the gym in the middle of January, and they started me on estrogen cream too. I have since taken myself off that, and I have stopped going to the gym. I went to the gym for 6 or 7 weeks. And if anything, all of my measurements should have gotten leaner, and they're not changing at all. And what that's telling me, again, with the I can't suck it in, is that there's something systemic. That's what I don't know the right word, but it's something physiological. It's not fat. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not, I don't know what it is. My thighs also, I have cellulite down my entire leg, one leg, and I don't have that normally. I first thought, when I saw that I was thicker everywhere, I was like, wait, why do I look like I did when I was on birth control? Because I did. It happened overnight, all of a sudden. And I was like, what the hell? And then I remembered, oh, it's the estrogen, probably. And the distension is so bad, I can't walk around like this. I can't walk around like this with the pressure on there. And I talked to my Urogyne about it. And she said, you're on such a small dose that the weight gain isn't from that. And I didn't say this back to her, but I was like, I was on a small dose of anesthesia twice. I aspirated twice. With some things, but not a lot. My tolerance is sky high, but with most things, drugs or whatever, I'm super sensitive. Like I said, with the tags, you feel me? So I'm always aware of what's going on in my body. I'm aware that something's going on. I'm not always aware of why, right? Sorry, hold on. I'm exhausted. It's very, very late, but I had to do this, and I did not think it was going to take me that long. So I took myself off the estrogen, and it hasn't changed any. Why I have not gone back on the estrogen is because I am convinced that it's SIFO, candida yeast. Estrogen adds to that. You need to stop it. Also, it also contributes to SIBO. Okay, so my GI doctor has not been answering me, and it's so I'm making my own protocol right now. I mentioned to her, I had said, this is where the distension is. This is what I'm concerned about. Would you consider retreating for SIBO? And this is what I'm suggesting, the dosages and stuff. And I also asked her about Motegrity, which is a prokinetic, which is a medicine that makes your motility move faster. She said I would need a breath test, and she agreed that what I suggested she would do, but she didn't schedule one. And when I responded and said, okay, when can we do the breath test? That was weeks ago now. 2 weeks ago. I haven't heard back from her. I had been hesitant to start a protocol because once you start a protocol for SIBO, you should have no gaps. You have to keep going, and it's very involved. And if I was going to have a breath test, I have to stop all medications 2 weeks before. So, and I have the colonoscopy coming up, and I have to stop some things for that. But I'm sorry, I'm forgetting. Because I have a raging yeast infection, I have to go on antibiotics for at least 10 days. And since that's another 15 days, less than that, 10 days. I don't know. It's so close to when my colonoscopy would be that I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do this, because the other option would be for me to decrease the stool burden, would be doing a colonoscopy prep without the colonoscopy. That's what my previous GI doctor would have me do. And remember, I did 4 of those, and I didn't come clear at the end. That means at the end of it all, there was still stool. One time, there wasn't. 1 out of 3. When I had a sigmoidoscopy, I did 3 enemas, and it was still full of stool. 3 enemas. Okay. Because I have gastroparesis and I have the delayed liquid emptying, after 1 hour during that test, I had 74% still in my stomach. That's how bad it is. A prep is all liquid. It's 64 ounces. You have to drink it within a specific amount of time. When I did the preps without the colonoscopy, I didn't know I had gastroparesis then, and I get deathly ill. I have heart palpitations. I feel like I'm gonna faint. It fucks me up for the whole day and the whole next day because it makes me super sick. So because I have to do that in a month, I didn't want to do it now. You know what I mean? I didn't want to do it. I'm also afraid. I'm afraid. So I'm like, if I only have 1 chance left with this, I'm just going to wait for that. You know what I mean? So the other option is to get moving on the moving of all of this, to try to kill the SIBO. But number 1 was to get the motility moving. And then from there, I was like, okay, I'm going to kill the SIBO. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it on my own. So a prokinetic is an essential part of a protocol. I have been trying to get one prescribed called Motegrity for this whole time. It's hard to get approved. It costs a lot of money and it needs a pre-auth. If the doctor writes the letter right, it's easy. Now, Motegrity is used for both SIBO and gastroparesis, which I have both. So this should not be an issue. January 11th, I talked to her about it. She hasn't mentioned it again, and I've brought it up at least 3 times in the messages since then. It's March 20th. I did 3 or 4 herbal prokinetics, and they kind of helped, but they didn't. They weren't strong enough because I have a severe case. There's one herbal one called Motilipro that I didn't try that was the most recommended, right? I didn't try it because if you're on an SSRI, which Wellbutrin is, my antidepressant, you can get really sick, something called serotonin uptake syndrome or something like that. It's something like that. And so I was like, okay, so I can't. So as of today, was day 1, I stopped taking my Wellbutrin because I ordered the Motilipro and it got here today. And so I started taking that. The other part of this is because I believe I have yeast. I know I have yeast and I believe I have SIFO. That is a Candida diet. So that's a Candida diet in addition to a low fermentation diet, in addition to a SIBO specific diet. Okay, these are 3 different diets. This is the most important one, the Candida one. So that's the one. I had to go through and find out all the list of foods that were okay, and then cross-check it with the low fermentation, and then cross-check that with the SIBO specific. And this, literally, if it is not on this paper, I can't eat it. And in the amounts. Part of why I'm making this update is to alert you guys that I am not on my antidepressant meds. And I'm going to be losing weight. Now, if you also remember that Wellbutrin that I'm on, because I have a history of anorexia, if I go under a certain weight, I can have seizures. So that is why I have been on restricted diets so far, but I didn't go totally full force the way I was supposed to, because I can't lose weight on that medication. Well, now I'm off it. This is not going to be a fun thing for me, losing weight. This is most likely going to produce a whole lot of extra skin, which is going to be a problem. You know what I mean? It's going to cause it. The diet I am staying on only until the yeast is cleared, at least in my vagina, right? Once it's cleared in my vagina, I'll stay on this, but there are some things from the SIBO specific that I can start to put back in, as long as they have to be low fermentation too. Do you know what I mean? But if they're on the SIBO specific and not on the low fermentation, and they're not on the Candida, I'm going to start to put things back in slow. You know what I mean? So this is temporary, but it's going to be rough over here. It's going to be rough over here. I also have to stop smoking. It's bad. Smoking tobacco and smoking anything is bad for your tissues, and it can contribute to prolapses. So I have to stop. And if I'm not on my antidepressant, I need to be on THC. Like, I have to have that in there just to function. So going to figure that out. Probably going to do, I can't have sugar at all. At all. Not in any way. And for the first week, it's a week or 2 weeks. there's a long period of time where you can't have fruit at all. It's for the first, we'll just say 7 days, but I feel like it's longer than that. Why am I talking about sugar? Edibles. That's why I was talking about sugar. I can't eat sugar, so I can't eat edibles. So I need to have oil or a tincture, and that's what I'm looking for. I have a medical marijuana card. I'll figure all that out. That's, God, I hope I didn't have boogies hanging out of my nose. If I did, God, sorry, but I'm not doing this over again. That's it, I guess. Hold on. I want to circle back to the weight gain. I looked up like what could cause that. It could be insulin related, and it could be like a heart issue related. And I had a lot of breathing problems, and I still do, but they're kind of better. I guess I didn't mention, there's a bunch of tests that I've been trying to get my doctor to do, like a stool test, a mold test, a toxicity, like heavy metals and stuff test, and nothing. I'm getting nothing. This is not a very uplifting message, and that's where it is right now. This is really, really rough. Really, really rough. I've had a hard time fitting in my clothes. That's been consistent. Now I really can't. Like, even my baggy sweatpants and stuff are not baggy in the same way. That's just hard. Imagine right now your waist, your abdomen, from here to your pelvic to your pubic bone. What it is right now, now add 5 inches out for 5 inches. How long could you live like that? Just because I'm lean doesn't make it any less traumatic. You know what I mean? I don't know. This is exhausting. I have to take 19 meds a day. 4 of them are 1 pill only, and the other 15 are 2 or more. 19 different meds. Oh, this is important. So sorry for anybody with SIBO. So me deciding to treat myself, this is part of why. The medication that my doctor prescribed me 2 for my yeast infection, this is now my 2nd round of trying to treat this, is metrozinidol, whatever. It's a drug that's also used for methane SIBO, in addition to another drug, Xifaxan. Now, my GI doctor is not prescribing me that, because she didn't retest me, even though I clearly still have emo and maybe SIFO, but I still have it. But my gynecologist did, and my previous urogyne, because I've had these yeast infections for like a fucking year, refilled my last one, and I got it filled, but I didn't need it, and I got it filled on purpose because I was like, I'm holding on to this. So between the 2 prescriptions, I have enough to do half of the treatment. And since I have half of it, I'm using herbal antibiotics for the other half, where normally it would be pharma. There's 2 for methane you have to do in combo, and then herbal antibiotic, herbal combo. So I'm just doing like half and half, and I'm going full in prokinetic, soil based probiotic, only doing S. boulardii right now, Boulardii. It's Sacra something, but if you just do S. boulardii, that's the one I'm doing. I've done so much fucking research, deep dives to try to figure this out, and found some different herbal antibiotics to take and different combinations of things. So that's what I was doing with bringing them all out and figuring it out. I don't know. I'm exhausted. I look like shit. That's frustrating because people still say to me, "Oh, you look great." And I'm like, first of all, no, I don't. And you're whatever, and you can't, whatever. It's very limited view that you're even basing that on. But all I think of is my fucking vagina might need to be sewn closed. I'm not okay. You know, like, it's nobody's fault out there. You know what I mean? But I'm just going to tell this little anecdote, I don't know, story. I was on an afternoon walk. There's this dude. He's a neighborhood dude. Everybody knows him. I know him. We're not friends, but we were kind of friendly. We followed each other on Instagram. He's a musician and an artist. And I always got a weird vibe from him, but whatever. And I'm walking and I see him and he says something and I'm like, hey, I have my headphones on. I'm like, whatever, move them over. Hey, this was like 2 months ago. He says something. He says, you look great. Or he said, how you doing? And I was like, he said, you look great. And I was like, well, maybe I look great. And then he cut me off and he said, I don't care about what's going on the inside. I only care about the outside. And I said, you only care about the outside? And he said, yes. And I was like, that's fucked up. And I just turned around and walked away from him. And now when I see him, he like tried to wave to me. Now he knows, because I looked at him like the way I look at my ex. I actually looked way more severe to this dude than I do to my ex, because I try to not make eye contact with him, but that's a different story. But can you believe that, dude? Can you believe it? And he's not the only, he was the most extreme, but people say shit to me all the time. That's my update. When you don't hear from me, it's not because anything's better. It literally gets worse every single day this isn't taken care of. It will not get better. Do you understand that? It cannot get better without external help. And even if I get the SIBO down or eradicated, it's temporary, because it will come back if the motility isn't figured out. But right now, I'm just trying to get it as low as possible so that my fucking abdomen doesn't come apart again. And that's, yay. That's how I'll end it. Okay. Hope y'all are doing good. Bye.